I think it's a remarkable document. I think
which one?
The original Constitution, as well as the Civil War amendments. But I think it is an imperfect document, and I think it is a document that reflects some deep flaws in American culture, the colonial culture nascent at that time.
All right. He also went on in that interview in 2001 to say how we still have these problems, race problems today, the ones that were reflected in his view in the flawed document known as the U.S. Constitution. I bring that up, folks, as we get ready to introduce the Malzberg panel, because there's a poll out today in the wake of this whole Rudy Giuliani controversy, and it's a Huffington Post YouGov poll, and it says that a plurality of Americans, only 47% of those polled, say that they believe Barack Obama loves America. Now, the rest either weren't sure or said, no, he doesn't. Only less than half of Americans believe Obama loves America. You mean they agree with Rudy Giuliani? Wow. All right. Let's welcome in radio host, Newsmax contributor, Larry Elder, and a best-selling author as well, and, of course, the host of the Roger Hedgecock syndicated radio show, the Roger Hedgecock Show, Roger Hedgecock. And, Larry, let me start with you, sir. Are you surprised by this poll and the numbers?
No, I'm not surprised. Obama has always been perceived as somewhat different from a lot of Americans. I know that a lot of people consider that to be subtle for racism, but a lot of people have always felt uncomfortable about Obama. He's from Hawaii. He was raised in the mean streets of Hawaii. His father has a PhD from UCL, from Harvard. His mom has a PhD in anthropology. He's not from the inner city. He's not from Chicago. He's not from the mean streets of the inner city. So a lot of people have always felt that way. I remember when he ran for Congress, U.S. Congress, against Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush outlined him as an elite snob from the University of Chicago, where he taught law.
Yeah, and Roger, of course, weigh in on the poll, but I wish more people would hear his views on the U.S. Constitution from 2001.
Ha!
Well, that's right, Steve. And he also pointed out in another interview that the Constitution was composed of negative rights. This is the kind of thing that it's just appalling, but it is not unusual. Understand in this poll that what the question they did not ask is, do you love America? Because while 47% may think that Obama, only 47% think he does love America, how many Americans love America after 4 or 5 generations of propaganda in the government schools?
Steve, may I point out some of the hateful things Republicans have said for which they're never held to account? Claire McCaskill was running for Senate, and she said George W. Bush let people die on rooftops during Hurricane Katrina because they were poor and they were black. If somebody asked her to explain that, I don't know who did it. Harry Reid said in the contest between Republicans and Democrats, it's good versus evil, and we're the good, and he was not joking. Barney Frank said George W. Bush allowed Hurricane Katrina to go bad because he wanted minorities to leave Louisiana, and Barney Frank called it, I'm not kidding, ethnic cleansing by inaction. Nobody said jack. It's unfair the way Rudy Giuliani is being raked over the coals for his comment, and these big lights in the Democratic Party were not for their hideous comments.
Correct.
Yeah, and you, Democrat, and Roger, he's so right. And, I had Larry Kudlow on yesterday, and Larry Kudlow was the one who introduced Rudy Giuliani at that event and gave him the floor. And I asked him, would you do it again if you had it to do all over and you knew what would happen? He said, absolutely.
Right.
Well, and if you look around at the wreck that's going on just this week, we can't seem to get a handle on the miracle magic wand amnesty, totally illegal, totally unconstitutional. We can't get a handle on the multiple disasters going on around the world in Ukraine and Syria and all the rest of it. We can't seem to get a handle on the FCC taking over the internet and the equivalent on the internet of Obamacare taking over the health industry. The catastrophes are multiplying.
And Steve, getting back to the constitutional issue, I remember Obama once saying that the Constitution was flawed because it did not allow for the redistribution of income. I think something like that would cause the founding fathers to spin in their grave if he thought that's what their intention was. But Obama felt that the document was flawed because it did not do that.
All right, coming up on the second part of the Malzberg panel with Larry Elder and, of course, Roger Hedgecock, we'll take a look at Obama's vetoing of the Keystone Pipeline, Netanyahu refusing to meet with Senate Democrats in private when he gets here, and did you hear what Melissa Harris Perry said at Cornell 2 days ago at a Martin Luther King event? Oh, yeah, you'll hear it and you'll see it right here. Don't go away. All right, folks, we're back with the distinguished panel, like that. Larry Elder is here, Roger Hedgecock is here, and I'm the sore thumb of the panel. All right, let's talk, guys, about two things regarding Congress and, of course, the president, as promised, somewhere in a closet. I wish he had come out of the closet to do this. Vetoed the Keystone Pipeline, and the Senate's going to try to override that next week. And then, of course, Harry Reid capitulated today and accepted the surrender of the Republicans and is willing to do the two-vote scenario, the clean DHS funding bill, and then a show vote to see who's against the immigration order. So, Larry, you know, is Congress going to go? Is the House going to go along with this this McConnell surrender?
I don't know. At this point, it looks like the House is pretty upset about this. You know, the polls show that most Americans are not happy with the fact that Obama did this thing with an executive order. The Republicans had huge victories in the 2014 elections. Eric Cantor lost his seat in part because of his position on immigration. So it seems to me the Republicans have the public opinion, they've got the law, and they've also got the election on their side. What they don't have is the media, and the media will malign them, malign them, malign them. If, God forbid, a bill is up there, Obama does not approve it, and the government is shut down. The government won't be shut down. As you know, 80% of the people at DHS are considered to be essential. They have to work. They won't get paid right away, but they have to be there. So it's not really going to be a shutdown, but it'll be perceived that way, and Republicans will get hammered. That's what McConnell is worried about.
Well, Roger, does Boehner have the guts to withstand this, and do they have the capability as a party to explain it to the American people in a similar fashion as Larry just did?
Well, and that's a great point, because I don't think they do. But getting back to what's before the Senate now, there are two bills. One's the so-called clean bill for DHS funding. The other is the anti-amnesty bill. If that bill gets a majority of the Senate, Boehner's reaction ought to be to push that bill first in a vote in the House, send that bill to the president, and make him stand there and say, no, I'm going to do this amnesty even when Congress doesn't want me to do it, and veto that bill. I think that's the best they could get out of this.
That's right. The bill won't be overridden. The votes aren't there, but at least he'll be on record as taking a position that the American people do not like.
Yep. Right. All right. I want you to listen to Melissa Harris Perry, Cornell University, at a Martin Luther King event, a Martin Luther King Jr. commemorative lecture. Here's what she said about Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman.
I hope he tried to stay alive. I hope he knew that he lived in a state with a stand your ground law, and I hope he whooped the shit out of George Zimmerman. And it's not disreputable in that because he encountered a stranger who was prepared to kill him, and you know how I know? Because he killed him.
All right, hard to hear for you guys, I know. She said she hopes that Trayvon Martin whooped the you-know-what out of George Zimmerman, Larry.
Well, my reaction, frankly, is consider the source. This is the woman that wore the tampons on her earrings. Recall that? And as I recall, Stand Your Ground had nothing whatever to do with the George Zimmerman Trayvon Martin case.
No, that's true. It was a defense. It was a defense case, right of defense case, and the Justice Department. And you know how Holder was salivating on this thing. Wanted desperately to bring a civil rights action against Zimmerman. They couldn't do it. And the New York Times keeps calling Zimmerman a white guy when he's Hispanic. All of this is just craziness, and now they've been caught at their own game. It seems to me.
That's right.
Yeah, and what did you think about the statement from the Justice Department yesterday that not only said the standard for prosecution wasn't met, but they made sure to include, Roger, but by the way, we don't condone the shooting and the tragic loss of a teenage life, which I could understand the latter. The former absolutely had no business in there, in my opinion.
Well, you've got the Justice Department document is fantastic because it goes through this whole thing about the fact that it really was.
Roger, I'm sorry. 10 seconds, Roger. I'm sorry. I should have told you that. 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, the bottom line is they couldn't find a civil rights violation because there was no civil rights violation, and the whole mythology of Trayvon Martin is simply false.
Right. Larry, final word.
Same thing. No civil rights charges there, and I predict the same thing with Ferguson. No civil rights charges either.
That's right. That's
right.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you. Great panel. Give me fives next. Don't go away.